Ahead by a Century. That's by the Tragically Hip. Ah, here it is. Good, good, good. All right, here we go. First thing we climb a tree, and maybe then we talk, or sit silently and listen to our thoughts. Illusions of someday, cast in a golden light. No dress rehearsal, this is our life. And that's where the hornet stung me, and I had a feverish dream with revenge and doubt. Tonight we smoke them out. You are ahead by a century. You are ahead by a century. You are ahead by a century. There in the morning shroud, and then the day began. I tilted your cloud, you tilted my hand. Rain falls in real time, and rain fell through the night. No dress rehearsal, this is our life. Well, that's when the hornet stung me, and I had a serious dream with revenge and doubt. Tonight we smoke them out. You are ahead by a century. 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 And disappointing you is getting me down. Hydrate or drive? Absolutely. That is good. Dihydrogen oxide. That is very, very good. Dihydrogen oxide.
How is everyone today? Getting exercise like those little squirrels there? Oh, that crow reminds me I forgot to feed my animals today. Hey, good afternoon. How is everybody this afternoon? This afternoon where I am anyway. Still morning throughout most of the U.S., I guess. How are you? This is Double Triple Channel. It is 7 minutes afternoon on August 23rd, 2024. And I'm doing a science stream today. I had no idea what I was going to stream about until about 10 minutes before the stream started. So this one may be a little rough. We'll see. This is Double Triple Channel. My name is Ron. I live in New Hampshire. I live in a rural area surrounded by forests. I've got wild animals all around, and sometimes I stream about those on IRL, local IRL, virtual IRL, I guess. But mostly I try to stream science and technology type stuff, real science, science fiction, movies, movie reviews. I've been vegan for over 4 decades, so I'll mention that every once in a while. What else do I do? Civics, civics, news, that type of thing. So they could variety streamer, I guess. And so this is live, being broadcast this time on Twitch. So if you're watching this on a VOD, it's a live thing, and occasionally people will type into chat, and I can talk to them and that sort of thing. So that's what's going on here. That's what we got. So today I've got I typed into the thing TrB Nova. So nobody probably knows what that is. Although I don't know if they're looking in the science category, maybe they do. This is kind of a big deal coming up. They call it T Corona Borealis. Corona Borealis is a constellation in the sky, and there's a star in that constellation which you can't see with your naked eye. You can't see with the binoculars. It's very difficult to see, actually. You need at least a 6-inch telescope to see it, and even then it's very difficult to find. So it's a tiny little star. They say it has a magnitude of 10 normally. The way magnitudes work is 0. The higher the number, the more dim it is. I'm not sure where that came from. Maybe that's something we can look at, how that whole magnitude thing works, apparent magnitude. But what happens is every 70 or 80 years or something like that, it blows up and turns into a nova, a periodic nova. And the reason it does that is because it's part of a binary star system. And so I'll show you what that looks like if I can bring this up. This will take just 1 second here as I do my OBS magic here. There we go. Alright, I think that's it. Did I do it? Yeah. So it's part of there's a red giant. I think the T is the binary pair. I think that's what it is. Or maybe the T is just the little one. The little one is where all the action is. That's a white dwarf. And what happens is, these two stars are circling each other. One's a red giant, one's a white dwarf. This is the white dwarf, red giant, right? And this one pulls material from this one because of the gravity, and it pulls a little bit, and it gets more and more and more mass in here. And after a period of time, then it becomes reaches a critical point where it will blow up. and as a or what it doesn't actually, the whole thing doesn't blow up. The way these periodic novas work is the just the outer part of it kind of blows off like that, and it leaves the white dwarf again in the middle, real dim, that we can't see. But when it does that blowing up thing, it makes it much brighter. It's yeah, I guess you could call it an explosion. I don't know. So let me see when it says what's supposed to happen. They watched it, and it, based on past observations, they can tell when it's getting ready to pop, and you don't have to. There's a. Let me see something here. I'm going to check out this article here really quick because I don't want to. Okay. So let me see if it says when. I mean, it's got to say, right? So it popped in 1866. And it said they estimated it was about 2.5 magnitude at that time, approximately, plus or minus. And then, so I think it popped in the 40s too. Let's see here. Oh, I forgot when the period was on this thing. I think it was like 70 years or something. Inclination. Oh, here it is. Period. Oh no, wait, that's not. Oh, that's the period. That's the period of rotation. Yeah, if you want to know that. Okay. So that's the period of rotation of the thing is 227 and a half days. Okay, so it is it's the TrB refers to the whole binary system, not just the white dwarf. So it's the red giant and the white dwarf. Two components. Okay, they orbit each other every 227 and a half days. That's what that is. Okay, I wonder if somebody's been messing with this article, because it said before that when it had popped before. So I think somebody's messing with this article. We may have to go back and look at a. It was first discovered in 1866. Yeah, I think somebody's been messing with this article. Let me go back. This is the cool thing about Wikipedia. You can go back in history and find one that might be good. No, it still doesn't have very much in here. This is an older version of the article. A few months ago. There it is. Yeah, they've got it in here. So on February 9th, 1946, it also went. It was magnitude 3, they think, at that time. And it's 2.5. Okay, is it dimmer than okay? So yeah, normally, right. So even when it pops, it's still not a real bright. It's not like, you're going to see something as bright as the moon or something. It's not going to be really, really bright. It's just that you look up there now, there's no star, and you walk out there the next night or whatever, and there'll be a star there. It'll just new. That's nova. I think that's what it is. Nova is new star. I think that's what it means in Latin. Or I don't know. Let's see. Oh, here we go. This is showing that variability recently. So I guess apparently it gets dimmer when right before it's going to pop. Is that what it is? Okay. Reported sustained brightening since February 2015. So it's gotten a little bit brighter. It went from a magnitude 10.5 to a 9.2. Star had dimmed slightly, but still remained at an unusually high level. So yeah, they think it's going to pop before the end of the year, or even the next couple months. So the idea is that you want to go out there and look at this thing now, right before it pops. Didn't pop, did it? Maybe I should do a search. It could have popped. I checked last night and it hadn't. But let me go back here to put my mug back up here so we can do some safe looking here, and I'll do a Google search on it and see where it has gone. TrB. Nova event 4 days ago is recurring nova. Okay, news. Any day now, they're saying. The BBC did an article on it 4 days ago. Oh, I guess I can show this, right? Let me see here. Yeah, I can put this up here. Yeah, so the BBC, and I'm having trouble reading my screen here. I've got some glare. Okay, BBC is reporting that it could pop any night. Yahoo News a day ago says Star Watchers are on the lookout for impending nova explosion. So, wait rare. So NASA has it in there. That was a while ago, I guess. 3 days ago. Why? We're watching the skies for a once-in-a-lifetime cosmic explosion. The press everybody's going to be disappointed. Same thing happens with meteor showers. Oh, we're having a meteor shower. Blah, 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 Everybody goes out there and it's like, there's a meteor. When there's a meteor shower, it's like one every, a really good one is like one every minute or something, or one every several minutes. So, people go out there and they're expecting, and it's just, maybe if they're patient enough, maybe they'll see a couple, So they're doing this with this too. So people are going to go out and look for a big explosion and not see anything, I guess. I don't know. New guest star. A guest star in the sky. So, the media's talking about it a little bit, I guess. Let me see if I can find a chart here somewhere, a star chart to help show where, first where Corona Borealis is, and then where to find that star in it. All right, let's go to the main article here on Corona Borealis. No, that doesn't say how to spot it. Let's see if this shows here. No, that doesn't. I want to give you like a landmark on how to find it in the sky. Deep sky objects. Oh my God, that's not good. Let's see here. Alright, I know what to do. I'll do a... Alright, so I'll do... Constellation map. There we go. That might have it, huh? No. PP3 constellation. Now let's see what that is. Yeah, they're showing close-ups of it. I want to show something of a more wide view, so I could show you exactly how to find it. do it this way. This will do it. Alright. Oh, this one might work. Yeah, it still doesn't. I want to show. Yeah, that won't work. I'm trying to find a map here on Wikipedia Commons that we can put up there. Let's see here. Oh, that's a mess. Let me try something else here. Sorry about this. I should have try it this way. No. Yeah, I can't find an off-sky map. Now I've got bookmarks on my other computer that maybe I can find one of those for actual, sites. Oh, that might be illegal though. That might be copyrighted. So I got to stick with Wikipedia Commons here. Okay, I know how to do it. Okay, I know how to do this. All right. I think we got it figured out here. All right, we're going to do it this way. All right, so here's Corona Borealis here. That's the constellation. Okay, and off this way, heading this way. Can you see my little pointer there? Yeah. Off this way is the Big Dipper. So this is kind of oriented a little bit differently, but if you take this part of the Big Dipper, if you find first, everybody can find the Big Dipper, right? That's the easiest thing to find in the sky, I think. Other than the moon, maybe, and the sun. The Big Dipper, right? Everybody knows how to find a Big Dipper. After the sun goes down, it's going to be to the west. And you follow. This is the pan, right? And this is the handle of the Big Dipper, right? Doesn't that look like a bear? I think it looks more like a dipper to me. So you take these three here, and you just follow them out in a straight line. Right, all the way out. Just keep following them all the way out, that way. Then take these two, and follow them in a straight line all the way out. And so what you'll end up with is kind of a little, almost a sideways V here, right? Pointed thing. So if you go midway between those two, and follow that out, you'll hit this guy. So those two, way out here somewhere is the Big Dipper, and the handle of the Dipper. Those two things come out, and one of the three of those stars. The first one line I showed you goes up this way, like this, and then the other one goes down this way, and so you're just go midway between them. And once you do that, it's not that far across the sky. It's about maybe the 1.5 widths of the Big Dipper itself, something like that. And you'll see this. This is pretty easy to see. Then once you get it, you find this bright star here, and then get those two. And then once you find it, then so there it is, right? It's Alpha. They name it the brightest one is Alpha, and then Beta, and that's how they name them. So T is pretty far down the alphabet, so that's not very bright at all. So the brightest stars of a constellation are T or A, and then next brightest is B and C. But it's not always exactly that way because they're variable stars, and they discover them kind of haphazardly and stuff like that. So it's not exactly right, but that's generally the idea. And then it gets down to T, and T would be right here if you could see it, but you can't, right? So if you just look at the constellation tonight, or whenever you got a free clear skies on dark, it's got to be dark. You can't be like in the middle of Times Square or something. You try to see the stars. You got to be somewhere where it's dark. So if you don't live somewhere where it's dark, where you can just walk outside, if they got street lights and all kinds of stuff polluting the sky, then go to somewhere where there isn't light pollution and look up at the sky after, soon after it gets dark, and then you should be able to find it. And when you find it, it looks. The reason it's called Corona Borealis is Borealis means to the north, and it's not really to the north. It's to the north sometimes, but it'll be to the west actually. And Corona means it looks like a crown. So that's an upside down crown. They're showing it upside down here. And this is kind of how it will look in the sky actually when you look at it this time of year. It's kind of pretty much oriented that way, I guess, if you're looking to the west. And that's where there will be no star here. You won't see a star. You see these stars, this bright star, and you got 1, 2, 3, and there's nothing there. But when it pops, it'll be in the news. You'll hear about it, and it'll only be bright, really bright. It's at its brightest for a few hours, but you'll be able to see it for a couple of days. And you just go out and look at it, and you'll see an extra star there, and as a visual, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like a solar eclipse, total eclipse or something. It's not that impressive of a thing. But what's impressive is that, hey, there's no star there, and the next day there's a star. That's kind of unusual. You don't see that every day. And then you can all about how why that happens and all that kind of stuff. So that's T Corona Borealis. I wanted to remind everybody that I talked about it before, and I wanted to remind everybody again. So did that make sense? Did that make sense? How you find it? Let me go through it one more time, so you can understand. So this is actually, imagine this rotated a little bit. Can I rotate this? I wonder if I can rotate this from here. I think I'd have to open it up in another. I'd have to open this, download this file and open it in another. But just imagine this rotated clockwise, a little bit, about a quarter turn. So this is in the west sky, kind of west or northwest. You'll see the Big Dipper. So this part of the handle, follow that. Just follow it. Take your eye and follow that all the way out. And then take these two, follow them out, and it makes a little V there. And then midway between those two, if you just follow that out right about here somewhere, maybe a little bit further out, will be Corona Borealis. This guy. See? So, see if you can find it. It shouldn't be too hard. Sometimes you got to be patient. If you're not used to looking at the sky, sometimes it can be hard to find these things. Find the constellations. If you've been looking at them for looking at the sky for a long time, then you can just walk out there and instantly just pick out the constellations, But if you don't look at the sky a lot, you might not be able to do that. And another guidepost here is this thing. This is Vega, which is part of this Hercules thing, I guess, or Lyra. That's going to be like the brightest star. It's almost straight up. And that's kind of another guidepost, right? So if you got Big Dipper down here, and its handles, are pointing this way and this way, See, from here to here, from here to here. So you follow those, but if you get in and you see this big bright star, you know you went too far. So you gotta come back. I think you can find it. It's not that hard. There are other ways to find it, but I think that's the best way, because Big Dipper stays in the sky almost as long as this thing does. And some of the other ways of finding it involve stars that are lower on the horizon. And if you're like, there's a tree in a way or a mountain or something like that, you won't be able to, you may not be able to see that far down on the horizon. So I think this is probably a better way to do it. Okay, so I think I talked that to death, didn't I? What else was I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about our N95 respirators, but I wanted to mention a couple things here before I go on with that. Let me get my mug back up here so I don't. There were a couple things. I probably should have done this at the top of the stream here, but I wanted to go over some stuff that I had talked about before on Interstellar. There are a couple things that I didn't mention, and something that I just discovered actually after I did that stream, but it's kind of important. So recall. Let me bring up. Let's see here. Can I do this? But yeah. Here we go. All right. Okay. All right. So we were talking. If you remember, this is going to have spoilers in it. Okay. So that's kind of something to know about. That's kind of weird. My OBS is being unusual to me today. This is kind of weird. So there was something that I discovered. Oh, okay. One thing was has to do with the racial bias. There was another part. There was a part of my stream I was talking about. Yeah, here we go. I was talking about Dr. Romley getting blown up. Dr. Romley was the black guy who was a PhD professor or scientist or something. And he was... Jeez, this is not going to work, is it? I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with OBS here. Am I going to have to... I don't think I need to restart. God, I hope I don't have to restart the stream. That would be a drag to get this thing to work. Search media. Here, I know what to do. I'm sorry about this. I knew this was going to be rough because I didn't prepare, so I'm sorry. Alright, that's the only thing open, I think. One more thing here. Alright, that's got to do it, right? That's the only thing open. There it is, okay. Alright, so what happened was, alright, so if you didn't see the other thing, and you're watching this on a VOD, go back and watch the VOD, because it's the VOD the review that I did for Interstellar, because this might not make a lot of sense to you if you didn't see that other stream. So go watch that one first, and then come back and watch this. So I talked about one of the events in the film was that this Dr. Romley gets blown up. And I questioned why. Why did he get blown up? You know? And a lot of times in films that are racially biased, they will kill off a black character early in the film so the black character doesn't get as much screen time. But this was later in the film, you know? And there was no reason for him to get killed. You know, there was no reason in the plot that made any sense as to why they would have this explosion, or even why the character who did this would do it. I mean, you know, it made no sense at all. Okay, having this big explosion. You know, perhaps the justification was, okay, if somebody tries to get the man was the bad guy. Okay, Dr. Mann. Dr. Mann put an explosive in the robot. I think that's what it was. Not totally clear here what happened. Put an explosive in the robot to make it self-destruct if anybody tried to find some secret data that he had hidden. Okay. So that's stupid. You know what? If you had secret data you didn't want people to get to, you could encrypt it. You could have it erase, you know, itself. If somebody tried to, I mean, you know, explode, you know, that's stupid. You know, even for Hollywood, that's stupid. So the whole thing didn't make sense, and why they would kill him off didn't make sense. You know, especially late in the movie. You know, if they were racially biased, they would do it early so that he wouldn't get screen time. And he still didn't get a lot of screen time. But anyway, the reason why, I'll play this clip here just so you can see it, and hopefully it'll come out on the sound here.
Romley!
Romley, do you read me? Romley! Romley!
Stop back, Professor!
Please don't
Stop
break.
back!
All right, so they blew him up. Right, he was trying to get the data out of the robot, and the robot blew up. And this guy here, Dr. Mann, was behind it. I think that's Dr. Mann. And so I'm thinking, why? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? And I couldn't figure it out, but I figured it out afterwards, after the stream. I said, oh, that's why they did it, of course. Because what happens after that is Cooper. You gotta watch you gotta either see the movie and be up on this thing. So watch the other VOD that I had before, because I'm going to say names and do stuff that might not make any sense unless you understand that. But Cooper, who was one of the main protagonists, Cooper and Mann. So they three of them went down to this planet. Okay, three of the good ones. Cooper, I'll explain it something. Cooper, Dr. Brand, who was played by Anne Hathaway, and Dr. Romley. And so why would they blow up Dr. Romley? And here's why. After this point, Dr. Mann, the bad guy, who blew up Romley and tried to kill the other guys, he goes up to back to the mothership, and wants to take off and go off to another planet or something and escape. And Cooper, the protagonist, and Dr. Brand, played by Anne Hathaway, and Romley would be left on the planet if Romley didn't get blown up. So if he didn't get blown up, this is what would happen, right? There would be the three of them left on the planet. Cooper, Anne Hathaway's character, Brand, and Romley, Dr. Romley, the black character. Those three would be left on the planet. Man would go up to this mothership. Then, if they followed the plot as it normally would have followed, those three would have flown back up to the mothership and gone through the whole rigmarole of getting back on. You know, it kind of got blown up there and a little bit, and Manny ended up getting killed. So it would end up the three of them on the mothership, ready to go to the other planet. And in order to make it to the other planet, Cooper decides to attempt to give up his life and fall into the black hole, which is supposed to provide enough boost for them to get to this other planet. And what would have happened is then Brand and Dr. Romley would have went together to the other planet, and that would have been like a Adam and Eve type story, right? They go there to colonize the new planet. And that another thing that Hollywood doesn't like is interracial relationships. They don't show that very much. They are very hostile to that. People who are racist are hostile to that, and Hollywood is racist. So that's what would have happened. So that's why they blew them up. They didn't want that to happen. They didn't want to have, a white woman and a black man together alone on a spaceship going to a planet to live alone together on a planet. They didn't want that. That's why they blew them up, I think, in my opinion. So that's one thing. The other thing, not having to do with racial bias, is the bookshelf. Remember we kept talking about the bookshelf, and why. If you're familiar with, remember, you got to be familiar with the story. You have to understand what happened. But there was a bookshelf, and the bookshelf was in the Cooper's daughter's room. Murphy is the daughter. Cooper's the protagonist, the main guy. His daughter, in her room, there's a bookshelf, and books are falling off the shelf, and weird things are happening. And it turns out that it was Cooper doing it through some magical thing they had, where he was knocking the things off in the future. Okay, it's weird, right? And I was questioning, why did they do that? They could have very easily, if it's the people who built this whole system to allow Cooper to be able to do that, they could have very easily just told Earth how to fix the problems they were having that was killing off Earth, which would have been the way to do it, right? Just fix the problem. Instead, they do this whole rigmarole and blah, 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 blah. So I said, why would they do that? And why a bookshelf? Why did they use a bookshelf? And I figured it out. And I don't know why I didn't think about this before, but the bookshelf is a metaphor. And they actually show some books in there, and some titles of books and stuff like that. And maybe one time I'll go back and look at those and figure that, and maybe stream a little bit about that. But it's a metaphor. The bookshelf is a metaphor for the passing on of knowledge, right? That books, information from one generation to the next, it's passing on knowledge, and we keep doing that, and hopefully we keep getting better and better and better. And so that's the bookshelf is that metaphor. It's the passing on of knowledge. And in this case, it was passing on knowledge from Cooper via people in the future, but Cooper was passing on this knowledge to his daughter. So it's kind of a metaphor, right, for that whole deal, and the idea that we should, that's what humanity does, and by passing on knowledge like that, we improve. Even though we have all these, this DNA and this brain and stuff that evolved in environments that make us do stupid things, like fight each other and do wars and all that kind of stuff. If we, the hope is that by passing on this knowledge, maybe we can fix that problem. So anyway, that's what I thought, and I'm just surprised that I just figured that out yesterday, I think it was, what that metaphor was, and I didn't think about it before. So that's that. I don't know if anybody else is. I'll look later and see if anybody else said that. I'm sure somebody else recognized that and talked about it, but I didn't understand that until just recently. So I thought I'd pass that along too. Okay, respirators. Let's see if there's a video out there somewhere, because this might be. I'm sure there are folks out there who have done. And I actually I have some here, but it's on my other computer. Maybe I can find them here. I'll do a search here. And there aren't, and I really I should have picked a video here. I'll do it this way. Videos. Okay. Okay, here's one to tell how to tell if your respirator. Okay, this is by CDC. Oh, okay, this one is good. This one we could play. Let me look at this here first. Actually, I'll go watch it on YouTube. Actually. That way when it's done, maybe it'll pop up some other videos we can watch. Alright, let's see here. Alright, yeah, this looks pretty good. I'll correct if they have any errors in it. I'll correct it and let you know. Alright, let's see here.
NIOSH approved N95 respiratory protective devices are the most common type of.
Alright, hang on just a second here. OBS is not user friendly. It does not figure this stuff out. Okay. Alright, there we go. Alright, we got this going. So I'm gonna play this video while the lawnmower goes in the background here, because I don't want that to interfere with me. I'll shut my mic off and I'll play the video and then maybe I'll go back and explain some stuff. So here we go. Oops, and I can get rid of the spoiler here. Don't need that. Okay, here we go.
NIOSH approved N95 respiratory protective devices are the most common type of filtering facepiece respirator, or FFR, used in U.S. workplaces. These disposable respirators form a tight seal to the face, removing particles such as bacteria, viruses, and dust from the air as you breathe through them. The NIOSH Respirator Approval Program is responsible for the testing and approval of respirators intended to be used in occupational settings. For NIOSH to approve a respirator, it must meet the requirements defined in the Code of Federal Regulations. These regulations include requirements on quality assurance, general construction, performance, labeling, packaging, and instructions. Because NIOSH-approved respirators meet these requirements, users can be confident in the level of protection that the device provides when it is worn and used correctly. There are many other products on the market that, sometimes falsely, claim to be equal to a NIOSH-approved N95 FFR. Some even claim to be NIOSH-approved when they are not. So how can you tell if your N95 respirator is NIOSH-approved? Respirators that have NIOSH approval will have specific labeling printed on the facepiece. You may see some respiratory protection products on the market labeled as N95. However, if a product does not contain all of the parts of the required label, it is not a NIOSH-approved respirator and therefore has not been evaluated according to NIOSH's strict testing requirements. This means it may not provide the level of protection it claims. The required labeling information on a NIOSH-approved N95 FFR appears on the respirator facepiece or strap itself. This includes the name of the approval holder, which will often be the approval holder's business name or the private label name of another company that is permitted to sell the product under the same approval number. The part or model number, the NIOSH filter series and filter efficiency level of the respirator type, which in this case would be N95. The NIOSH approval number, which is written as TC-84A- and ends in 4 unique characters, and NIOSH in capital block letters. A lot number may also be on the N95 abbreviated label. If it is not found on the FFR itself, it will be on the product packaging. The lot number is required to be listed on the abbreviated label for NIOSH-approved surgical N95 respirators, which are specifically meant for use in healthcare. If you're still unsure about whether your respiratory protection product is a NIOSH-approved respirator, you can use the information from the label to search the NIOSH certified equipment list to verify the specific TC approval number and approval holder or private label company. This is the official listing of NIOSH-approved respirators. To search by the approval number, type in 84A- and the 4 unique characters printed on your respirator label. If no results are found, it means it is not a valid NIOSH approval number and the product is not NIOSH approved. If you do not have the approval number, you can also search the list by manufacturer name or the private label found under the Advanced Search tab. NIOSH also provides frequently updated lists of all approved N95 FFRs by type and model or part numbers, which include the instructions describing how to put the respirator on correctly. After using these tools to confirm that your respirator is NIOSH approved, you can be confident that it is working as expected to protect you as long as it is worn and used correctly, forms a tight seal to your face without gaps, and maintained and replaced as recommended by the manufacturer. When demand for N95 FFRs is high, the number of products with false claims of NIOSH approval on the market increases, either through counterfeit respirators or misrepresentation of the NIOSH approval. The respirator classification N95 and the term NIOSH approved are recorded with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Any misuse of these marks, including on respirators that have failed to satisfy NIOSH's regulatory requirements or have not received a NIOSH approval, is a direct violation of applicable trademark laws. Counterfeit respirators are those that have not successfully undergone NIOSH testing and evaluation themselves, but were specifically manufactured to mimic a respirator product that did receive NIOSH approval. Similarly, misrepresentation of the NIOSH approval occurs when a product is falsely marketed and sold as being approved by NIOSH. Because misrepresented and counterfeit products are not NIOSH approved, they may not provide the expected level of protection. At a glance, there are several clues that you can look for to help identify if your product is counterfeit, such as it does not include all the required label markings. NIOSH is spelled incorrectly. It includes decorative fabric or other add-ons like sequins. It claims to be approved for children. NIOSH does not approve any type of respiratory protection specifically for children. You can find more tips for spotting counterfeit respirators on our webpage. If you have concerns about your respirator being counterfeit or misrepresenting the NIOSH approval, or have questions about NIOSH-approved respirators, please email ppeconcerns@cdc.gov. More information is also available on the NIOSH website. To be confident that your respirator is NIOSH approved, follow the tips and resources provided in this video.
Okay, so that was mostly about. Oops, let me put my mug back up here again. So that was mostly just you know, how to spot a fake one, I guess. And they're, you know, it's basically the same thing, right? You get all this stuff on there. So, all these things. Here's another one. Right, this one's from Honeywell. It's kind of whacked out. This one's been used, but it's the same thing. It's got all that information up there. So, all right, I'm gonna try to find another video here. So hang on just a second. All right, let me. Okay, so I found one here. I think. All right, this one is from the National Health Authority of Singapore, and they're talking about N95, which is kind of interesting. I didn't know that they used N95. I thought they used the KN95. So I will play this, and we'll see what it's like. I think.
Protect yourself and your loved ones. Here are the 6 steps to wearing the N95 mask. Step 1. Wash your hands before putting on the mask. Step 2. Select an N95 mask that fits you well. It's available in different sizes and models. Step 3. Hold the mask in your hand and place it firmly over your nose, mouth, and chin. Step 4. First, stretch and position bottom band under your ears. Then, stretch and position top band high at the back of your head. Step 5. Press the thin metal wire along the upper edge gently against the bridge of your nose so that the mask fits nicely on your face. Step 6. Perform a fit check by breathing in and out. While breathing out, check for air leakage around your face.
Okay, so that was from Singapore. So that was mostly accurate. The you don't, when you're putting it on, you don't have to put the, you know, they've got the And N95s don't have ear loops. If you got a mask that has ear loops that go around your ears, that's not a good one. That's not an N95. And even if it is has the proper material, there's a good chance that it won't make a good seal that way, because it's just difficult to get a good seal on a mask that puts loops around the back of your ears like that. It has to have loops that go all the way around your head, you know. And there's an upper band and a lower band. Now they said you got to put the lower band on first, but it doesn't. You know, you can, and you could even do it. You know, what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep germs from getting inside the thing, from your hands or whatever. You know, and it's, you know, like what I do, I just put it on like this. I put the bottom band and just go like this, right? And so that's on there, and I can leave it like this until I'm ready to use it, and then I pop it up and then put this one over. So you don't, you know. I think that's only if you have, you know, if you're really concerned, if you're in an environment where you don't want germs to get inside there, you know, if you're already in a polluted environment or something like that, and you know, washing your hands and all that, you don't want to get germs inside it before you put it on, right? that wouldn't help. Although they would probably cling to the thing anyway, to cling to the inside of it. Let me see if I can find another here. Oh, I did. There was another thing I wanted to mention. Was this thing here? This is the this thing here. This is a what they call an exhalation valve. Exhalation valve. When you're using these masks, you know, you're breathing. You breathe. It's a filtering face mask, filtering face piece type respirator, which means the air comes through this thing, like on a typical one, like this one here. When you're breathing, when you breathe in, all the air comes through all the points of this mask here, all around it. So it's got a big surface that it has for filtering, and you breathe in, and then when you breathe out, the air goes in here. Pressure builds up and pushes the air through the filter back out again. Okay, so it's filtering both ways actually. It filters coming in, it filters going back out again too. So these can be used what they call a source control. But source control is not. You know, if you want to protect yourself, you want to make sure that it's sealed all the way around. So what happens is when you wear these things for a long time, you know, the air that you breathe out is going to be more moist than the air that you breathe in, because you got moisture in your body. And when you breathe out, then sometimes moisture can build up inside here. And if you have an exhalation valve on here like this, it allows some of the air that you breathe out to go out through this valve directly without having to be filtered or anything. Which means that these are not good for source control. First of all, you can't use one with, if it has an exhalation valve on it, you can't use it for source control. But it makes it much more easier to breathe, because when you breathe out, the air will go a lot of it will go out through this exhalation valve instead of hitting the inside of the mask here, which will cause air to condense inside here, so the moist air to condense inside here, and this will get moist inside here. But with an exhalation valve, it's a little bit easier. It doesn't get as moist like that. It's more comfortable to wear. The deal with the exhalation valve, though, is, I mean, they're you know, it's all proved and everything. It works when they're brand new, but you got to make sure that doesn't get damaged. That little plastic thing in there, that is it's a flap like this, you know. You got a hole and a flap, And so when air blows out, it goes like that, and the air comes out. And then when you're breathing in, the flap flaps down and makes a seal, and then the air comes in through the other parts of the mask. So if there's any dirt in there or anything, or if that little flap gets damaged or anything like that, then when you breathe in, the air would go through that, any damage or any holes in that flap there, unfiltered, and that's bad. Right? The whole purpose of wearing a thing is so you can filter the air and filter out the little virus particles. So that's something to be aware of. This is it's good. It makes it easier to wear, more comfortable to wear, to have an exhalation valve on it. But you got to make sure that's maintained properly. Make sure it's good, and you can reuse these. A lot really. They're designed for single use. That's what they're approved for, whatever. But you can wear them more than once. I've been wearing this one, a few weeks now. I don't go out that often into areas where I need to wear it, but I've got a little something in there. But I wanted to see if I could find a. Oh, and then you got these guys here too. This when it gets really bad, if I'm in an area where it's really dangerous, then I wear this thing here. This is the they call it an elastomeric respirator, and all these things are all designed for occupational use. When people are in workplaces, that's what NIOSH is, National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. And that's why they say they're not approved for children. They're not approved for children because children can't work. Children, that's the labor laws don't allow children to work, so they can't approve them for children, right? Because the reason they're approving these things is for workplace environments, and that just caused all kinds of bureaucratic bullshit when COVID hit, because they said, oh no, it's not approved for general population, or it's not approved unless you're in a coal mine, or what. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, so yeah, they'll work on children just as well. You just got to make sure it fits right. It's not approved for children because children don't work. Children are not laborers. That's why it's not approved for them, because that's a labor agency. That's the difference. So this thing has the same thing. It has an exhalation valve in it. Inside there, you can see maybe. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that inside there. There it is. Well, that's the inhalation valve. I can't get this adjusted where you can see it actually. Oh, well. There's a valve on this. There's one of those valves on this thing, on the inside, and there's also a valve for these coming inside here. There's a valve here for coming in, and then there's a valve for coming out. And they have these replaceable filters inside there. You can see it's all folded up. And this is P100. This is the best you can get for this type of a respirator. An unpowered, respirator, half mask, unpowered respirator. And so this is the best you can get. So this is P. The P means it'll work against oil droplets as well as water-based droplets, and the 100 means it filters almost 100% of the particles. It filters 99.97%, which is just virtually all the particles, really. N95, the 95 means it filters at least 95% of particles. And when you're talking about the particles that it filters, they measure it on the worst case particle. And it turns out that particles that are larger are pretty easy to filter, right? Yeah, that makes sense. And the particles that are smaller are actually easier to filter too, because of the way that an electrostatic filter works. But there's a particular size at around 0.3 microns. That is, let me get that off my face here. there's a particular size that is a 0.3 microns, which is the most difficult to filter, turns out, for these elastomeric respirators. And so they spec their specs, that 95 or 99 or 100 or whatever it is, based on that size of particle, 0.3 microns. And so if the thing is filtering out at least 95% of the worst case particle, it's filtering more than that. It's filtering, could be, 98 or even or 99 or whatever percent of all the particles. So it's, I when people were dying, 1,000 a day, this is what I wore to the store and everything. I wasn't going to die. I never got COVID. I never got sick. I haven't had a flu. I haven't had any respiratory illness at all since I've been wearing these things. So, highly recommended. I wanted to find a video that talked about how they work. So let me see if I can find that, because that's really interesting, actually. Oh, okay. Let's see. Let me type in how they work. How they work. Let's see if it works. See if it finds a video for me. The astounding physics of the N95 mask. Well, that looks pretty good. Let me sort this by. I got to make sure this is not copyrighted here, because now I'm going to science communicators and anybody. So let's see here. Let's see, all videos, quality, duration. What did they? They used to have. God, why do they change these things? They used to have it where you could sort it by the license. Shit. All right. I guess I got to use YouTube's. I'm trying to do this through Google. And they used to have a way that you could sort these things by the license. They don't have that anymore, apparently. Maybe they're testing this. I don't know. All right, let me go to advanced search. Maybe they have it in advanced search here. Subtitles, language, duration. No. I'll be damned. Huh. Yeah, they used to have that on Google where you could search for videos based on their license. All right, let me try it on YouTube here. All right. Okay. Let me see. Minute Physics. Let's see if he how he licenses stuff. Damn commercial. You can't hear that, can you? No, good. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay, Minute Physics. No, I don't see. He doesn't appear to have a Creative Commons license on it, so we're skipping that one. Alright, here's one called N95 Mask Maker Works. Okay, that's how N95 masks stop virus. This is okay. I guess we can kind of critique this too. As I said, I've got on my other computer. I have some bookmarked that are really good, but I just don't have that on this computer, and it's hard for me to look it up on the other one. All right, let me do this. It's filters. There we go. Okay, filters, Creative Commons. Okay, now we got it. Okay, how face masks work, the science behind them. Okay, well, he doesn't even... National Guardmen produce... Okay, how effective are face masks against COVID? Does this virus... Okay, I'm getting all kinds of weird stuff here now. Yeah, there's a lot of crap out there. Be careful out there when you're looking at videos on how to... There's a lot of stuff out there where it's not correct. All right, let me try something else out here. I'll use some terms that are a little bit more scientific that the goofballs wouldn't know about. All right, let's see if that would be... okay. Find the right masks and respirators. Okay, now I'm gonna see. I want when it says how it works. Jesus, this is just okay. All right, I found one here that I think I might play. It's 6 minutes long. I'm going to scan it really quick here. Make sure. It's got a lot of animation in it, so I don't know if this is correct or not, but all right, I'll just go ahead and play it. We're grown-ups here, right? We can figure this out if they have it screwed up. No. All right. Okay, so this is, let's see what this is here. We'll show you what this is. This is supposed to be Creative Commons released, so let's see if it is here. Creative Commons, okay. And they say face masks, how face masks work, the science behind them. So let's see. It's all little animated things here, so we'll see how this looks here. Let's see if we got audio still.
How do respirators and face masks prevent harmful particles from getting into your lungs? And what makes them more or less effective at doing the job they're designed for? Face masks and their higher performance cousins, respirators, are designed to prevent users from inhaling harmful airborne particles, whether these are dust particles or pathogen-carrying droplets. They can also reduce the amount of harmful particles someone expels into the air around them, especially through coughs and sneezes. But the physics behind how they work is not necessarily that obvious. It's tempting to think of the filter material that respirators and face masks are made of as a microscopically fine sieve that physically blocks small particles from entering your mouth and nose. Unfortunately, the science isn't quite this simple though. The materials that commercial respirators and face masks are made of usually consist of tangled mats of fine fibres. These create convoluted pathways that the air you inhale has to pass through, along with any particles and droplets being carried along by it. For particles big enough to be seen by the naked eye, these fibrous mats actually do behave a little like a sieve by physically blocking them from getting through, but this is pretty much where the comparison ends. This is actually good news, as a sieve that was fine enough to physically block the particles that you can't easily see, and the ones that are often the most dangerous, would be near impossible to breathe through. For many of these particles, it's their inability to follow the convoluted pathways through the filter material that leads to them being captured. To get a handle on this, imagine a car speeding along a winding road. The car fits easily on the road, but if it's going too fast, it won't be able to navigate the bends, and you just know that at some point it's going to crash. It's the same for small particles speeding through a filter. As the air twists and turns, the particles can't keep up, and ultimately they end up crashing out and being caught. Because of their inertia, which, just like the car, depends on how massive they are and how fast they're going, they can't stay the course. But how about the smallest, lightest particles, those that can easily slip along the winding path the air takes? Amazingly, these are also captured efficiently by a well-designed filter material, but the way they're captured is very different. Because really small particles have so little mass, they dance around as they're bombarded by the air molecules surrounding them. And as they dance, they end up colliding with and being captured by the material the respirator or face mask is made of. Because of the way diffusion-based capture like this works, the finer the fibres are that the material is made of, the more effective they are at collecting these fine particles. So much so that some filter materials are made of a web of incredibly thin fibres that are held in place by a mat of much coarser ones. And then you have the middle-sized particles, the ones that are too small to be captured because of their inertia, but too large to be captured through diffusion. These particles are usually a little smaller than 1/100th the width of a human hair, and they are the hardest to remove. This is why respirator and face mask manufacturers test the efficiency of their products with particles in this size range, those particles that are just the right size to slip through and make it to the other side. In a well-designed respirator or face mask, layers of non-woven materials create sufficiently convoluted pathways that the vast majority of these middle-sized particles are removed from the air. An additional trick that some respirators and face masks use, including N95 respirators, is to incorporate filter material that has a permanent electrostatic charge. Because most airborne particles are also charged, this technique can be used to increase collection efficiency, especially at small and medium particle sizes. But collection efficiency is only half of the story here. As well as blocking airborne particles, respirators and face masks also need to allow the user to breathe freely. Pack the fibers too tightly and not enough air can flow. On the other hand, pack them too loosely and most of the particles just pass straight through. To make matters worse, because airflow follows the path of least resistance, the smallest hole or gap in a respirator or face mask can lead to it losing most of its effectiveness. This is why it's so important to have a good seal between a respirator or face mask and your face. It's also why wearing one if you have facial hair is not that effective, as it's impossible to get a good seal. This tendency for air to take the path of least resistance also means that some materials are much better than others at filtering out particles from the air. For instance, woven materials are not that good at it. The individual fibers within the threads are far too tightly packed together to allow air to flow between them, and the holes between the threads mean that a single sheet of woven textile quite literally does leak like a sieve. Of course, it's possible to create makeshift face masks with woven materials, but they tend to be somewhat inefficient. Unless that is, you use multiple layers of material, or you combine woven materials with an unwoven one like felt or even disposable floor dusters. The bottom line is that effective respirators and face masks work, not because they act like sieves, but because they use the physics of airborne particles to capture them while allowing the wearer to breathe freely. That is, as long as they don't leak. For more information, please do check out the links in the blurb below, and as always, stay safe.
Wix. One platform. Anybody.
Okay. So that was fairly accurate, I guess. It was the analogies were kind of confusing for me, actually. The car on the road and all that. But I notice a lot of people who produce these videos, they kind of get hung up on this whole thing. Remember, I was talking about the 0.3 being the worst size to filter, and larger particles are more difficult, and smaller particles are rather larger particles are easier to filter, and smaller particles are actually easier to filter too. And that whole thing is actually a theory. I don't know if anybody has actually proved that. This theory of momentum and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of these guys they get into that theory, and they spend a lot of time talking about that, and I don't think you need to do that to explain it. You could just say, it turns out, you can just say, okay, 0.3 is the size that's the hardest, and smaller ones are easier, and larger ones are easier. I don't know if you need to try to explain it, because that is a theory. It's not, I couldn't find anywhere where anyone has actually proved that. The reasons why the smaller particles are easier to filter than like the 0.3, around 0.3 microns. I couldn't find any reliable sources where they actually prove that. It's just theory. They're just thinking about, well, maybe this is why, But basically, again, it's you got a fiber and a particle. Let's see if we got a particle here somewhere. Here we go. I got a fiber. So you got a fiber, and it's not like this kind of fiber, but it's a polymer made out of plastic, basically. It's plastic, and it's non-woven. And what they do is they squirt it out of a really tiny valve, and comes out as a thin flow of this. It's liquid first because it's heated up, and then when it hits the air, it begins to solidify. And as it's coming out, this part solidifies. This part's still liquid, kind of, viscous or whatever, and it stretches it. And they blow it with a blower, so that the fiber that's coming out of this nozzle gets blown and stretches out the thing to make it really thin. That's how they do it. That's how they make them. And they end up with teeny, really small fibers. And that guy mentioned that. Yeah, smaller fibers works better because there's so many of them. And the smaller fiber has more surface area to volume, and more surface area means more atoms of charged material exposed to the air, right? If it's smaller, for the amount of material. That's the way geometry works. So you got a fiber, and then you've got a let's see if I've got a good. Oh, this will work. This is my pen here. Let's see. I'll use this. Let's say this is a particle, right? And so this is a thin fiber. Maybe if there's a big particle, it's just going to hit these things and get stuck, right? But if it's a smaller particle, I don't have anything smaller here. There we go. Maybe that'll work. A little piece of paper. Yeah. You know what I should do? I should take that guy, since that's Creative Commons, I could take that guy's graphics and borrow them and do another video about it and just put a different voiceover over it and edit it down a little bit. So if you have a smaller particle, here's a little teeny piece of paper, right? So imagine this is like just maybe 1 nanometer or whatever. I mean, it's really a few nanometers. It's really small. It's smaller than the particles. And so this has a charge on it. Could be plus or minus, doesn't matter. And then you got a little particle that comes in here. And he mentioned neutral particles. Most particles have a charge on them of some sort. So if you've got all these fibers and some of them are positive, some of them are negative, and even parts of it, maybe it's positive up here, negative down here, you know. This thing comes in here, eventually it hits one that it's got an opposite charge to, and then it's tracked to it and just sticks, you know. Just like socks stick to your shirt when you pull them out of the dryer. You know, static electricity. That's what we're talking about here, static electricity. It sticks to it. And even a neutral particle will do that, because a neutral particle, so you imagine a neutral particle, it's got pluses, it's got to have equal numbers, right? Of pluses and minuses. It's neutral, right? Makes sense, huh? And as it gets close to, let's say this is positively charged. If this is neutrally charged, it gets close to it, and through induction, the positive charge here pushes away. Here, let me use my bigger one here. The positive charge here, so if this was neutrally charged, the positive charges here would push the positive charges on this one away, because positive charges, or like charges, repel each other, and opposite charges attract each other. So what happens is, if this is positively charged, this has pluses and minuses all over it. As it gets close to it, the positive charges on this thing would gather towards this side of it, and the negative charges towards this thing would be attracted towards this, and it would stick, because the negative ones would be on this part of the particle. So even a neutral particle that doesn't have a charge will still stick to it, because of this thing called induction. It induces the charges to move in this particle. So the pluses would be on this side of the particle, the minuses would be on this side of the particle, and it would stick. So that's how it works. It works with neutral. And NIOSH when they check their, to approve a new mass, manufacturer sends them a mass, says, hey, is this okay? And they test it. They test it with neutral particles for that reason, because if a charged particle is gonna work gonna stick a lot easier, because it will just stick right to it, or like a water molecule. If you had a water molecule or drop of water, water molecules are polar anyway. So one side is plus, one side is minus. So as it's heading towards it, if this was plus charge, and this had a plus and a minus, it would spin around and the minus would stick to it. That's why water sticks to things. That's why house sponges work. It's how a lot of things work, is because water is a polar molecule and it sticks to things. So that one was pretty good, I think. They did a pretty good job, I guess, explaining it. Just the analogies were kind of confusing to me, anyway. Let's see if there's another one out there. Oh, let me go back here. All right. Let's see if I got another one. Now here we got to do it yourself. Well, here's one. How electronic air cleaner works. Looks like somebody's trying to sell something. Let's see. A respirator for soldering. Can you use a respirator for soldering? If you're trying to keep out the chemicals, no. Unless it's that's the thing. These are air purifying respirators, which means they take. There's another kind of respirator, which is a self-contained respirator, where the stuff is in all the air that you take with you is in a tank, so you can go into any environment, even if there's no air, or there's no oxygen in the environment. You can bring a self-contained respirator, which it carries its own air in a tank, just like a scuba diver does, underwater, that kind of a thing. But these are air purifying respirators. They take the ambient air and bring it through and fix it so that it's breathable some way. In this case, we're filtering out particles to make it breathable. But if there are chemicals in the air, chemicals like gas chemicals, those won't get filtered out because they're not particles, they're gas. Particle is a liquid or a solid or both together. That's a particle. Gas would be, the gaseous state of matter. So that's why the air molecules go through this, right? They don't stick. Oxygen and all that goes right through this. Oxygen, carbon dioxide, it goes right through this because they're gases. So if you go into an environment that has a gas that's dangerous, carbon monoxide or something like that, this won't work. It won't filter out the bad stuff that way, if that's what you're trying to filter out. But in that case, there are ways you can use different materials, like carbon filters that will filter out certain organic molecules that could be harmful to you. And zeolite, I think, is another one. Or zeolite, I forget how it's pronounced. So they found certain material and certain chemicals that they can put into the filter cartridges that will filter out certain chemicals in the environment for you when you're breathing. But those are specialized things, It's not like just an N95 or something. Let's see if they got anything. Activated mass. Activated mass. How to read. What pisses me off is YouTube. Is out there. I've posted stuff on YouTube that they brought down. I put like posts, on videos and stuff that they've removed. It was totally accurate information. I cited sources and everything else, the correct information, from real sources, from real scientific sources, real papers, everything. And they've taken them off. But then they've got all this crap on here, of people doing just stuff that's just totally is harmful. It harms people. And they let that go on there, no problem. So, I don't know, they're assholes sometimes. Open source respirator, They didn't put it just anything up here, just telling people to wear, coffee filters and just all kinds of garbage like that. And they let them put that kind of stuff on there. All right, I can't find anything here. Maybe one day I'll spend an afternoon and just and I'll go through the ones that I haven't bookmarked before, and I'll see if I can find some better videos on this that explain this stuff. I even did a search for. Let me just look for. This might work better. Comments. There we go. Okay, I think that's the one we just watched. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Top 5. No, furnace filters. No. Are more efficient at collecting airborne particles. Okay, that's an ad. Air cleaner works. Air cleaners for nanoparticles. Well, this looks interesting. That's an hour long. I don't want to sit here. I don't think you want to sit here for an hour either. Okay, well, oh, here we go. How air filters work. That looks very much like what we just did. Okay, well, I guess we don't need to. You get the idea, right? I'll maybe what I'll do is I'll actually make a video. You know, there seems to be a lot of, you know, Creative Commons, you know, images and stuff out there that I could probably make a video and just do it. Just make one myself. That's, you know, actually accurate and is sourced and everything. All right, there's another thing that I wanted to try out here, and I don't know if it's going to work. This is kind of an experiment here, so that's what we're all about, right? Experiments. Not that kind of experiment. This is an experiment. I want to do. I made up a game called 6 Degrees of Wikipedia. I put that in the title of my video here. 6 Degrees of Wikipedia. And you've heard of the idea of 6 degrees of separation, where everybody in the world is connected to everybody else by 6 or fewer connections, you know. It's another name for it is the Kevin Bacon game. You've heard of that, where you pick somebody, usually celebrities. You pick 2 celebrities and try to figure out how to connect them by the movies that they appeared in. That's one way to play it. I think that's the original way to play the Kevin Bacon game. But it's basically 6 degrees of separation. There was a film called that. Will Smith did a film called 6 Degrees of Separation, and there was just a line in there where they talked about it. It wasn't really the point of the movie, I don't think. But the idea is that, you know somebody, and they know somebody, and so you could just randomly pick 2 people in the whole world, and you could find a connection where they each know each people until and there's 6 degrees, right? So like me and somebody in another country on the other side of the world, right? And I know somebody who maybe worked in near that country, right? And they know somebody who actually worked in that country, and then somebody else knows somebody who lives in the city where the other person is, and so on. And by doing that, they say every person is 6 degrees connected to every other person. That's the idea. Maybe that works out on average. I don't know. But what I wanted to do was to play 6 Degrees of Wikipedia. I've done this myself just for fun, where you take Wikipedia and let me put this up here. I'll put Wikipedia up here while I'm talking about it. There it is. Okay. So Wikipedia has a random function here. Yeah, random article. You click that and you get a random article. So the idea is that you come to Wikipedia, and you can either start on the home page of Wikipedia and then click on a random article, and then go back to the home page and try to just by clicking links, try to see how few of clicks it can take to get to that random article. You know what I'm saying? So what I'll do is I'll try to play it here real quick, but I gotta shut it off because I might get a random article that is not, it's TOS or something. So I'll open a random article here, and I'll scan it really quick and make sure we don't have anything. I don't think it's a medical article, so it could. I want to make sure nothing is in here that might be TOS. Okay. So the article it came up with was paranasal sinuses. That's the article. Just I clicked random article. Here, let me show it here. This is the article it came up with. Paranasal sinuses. So now what the idea, now there's two ways I could do it. I could open up, I could say, give me another random article and open that up and see what that is, and then try to navigate from this article to that article only by clicking on links until you can click to get to the thing. And you know, you can put rules on there, no going to, going down here to the bottom, or going to the main, there's you could put rules, you could put limits on it, make rules. So but let's say we wanted to get to this article from the main page, and how would we do that in the least number of links? So it's a medical article. Maybe I could find something in here. Oh, here's something on Mpox, right? So I could go to there. So we could do this actually pretty easily. I could click on this one. Let's see, Mpox, global health emergency. That'd be interesting to read about the Mpox pandemic anyway. So I'm going to open that up in another tab here, and then I'm going to put my mug back up here so I can check that and make sure it's not TOS. So this is a huge article. So that's one way to do it, right? So I got one link. So here's one click. All right, I'll put it back up. I didn't see any bad pictures. So so I went from, so this is the deal, right? I'm trying to get to this article here, paranasal sinuses. I started at the main page. I found one article that I think might lead me to that article. So I click that, and it brings up Mpox pandemic. So now I'm thinking, okay, paranasal sinuses, that has to do with breathing and the nose and all that. So it should be pretty easy to find something in here that talks about that. Prevention, mitigation. So there are a lot of different options we have where we could find that. I think the best way is to find something that talks about respiration, or something like that in this article. That would get us closer to that other article. Let me make sure my mic is on here. Yep. Okay. So you get how the game works. It's pretty simple, right? I think this would be a fun thing to do. The only problem is you can't do it seamlessly on live Twitch, because you always run the risk, and I found this out the hard way, that you can find, you might click on something that brings up, some picture of anatomy or something that is TOS, so there's an article, sexual contact, right? That if I clicked on that might be a problem. So let's see, prevention. Let's see if they've got measles. So I could click on measles. That's a respiratory disease for sure. N95 pandemic, that would have a whole bunch of links in it too. So let's see here. 95. I mean, COVID-19 pandemic, rather. N95 pandemic. Yes. So that's an option, right? I could click on COVID-19 pandemic, or measles, either one of those. So let's see here. So we got a couple options there. I'm seeing they're not talking about how it's transmitted or anything like that. I guess swollen lymph nodes, viral disease. This is more about the the pandemic and that kind of thing itself, rather than the disease itself. I think if I clicked on that COVID-19 article, that would probably be, or measles. Measles would do it too, I guess. Measles has, I think we might have pictures of people that don't look good because they've got blotches on them, but I think that's not TOS. I think we're okay with that. Well, so I can either go with measles or go with the COVID-19 pandemic. This is going to be a larger article, I think, COVID-19, but both of them are going to talk about respiratory stuff, I would think. All right, let me go with this one. All right, let me blank again here. So I'm clicking COVID-19 pandemic, opening that one up. I'm going to look through here really quick. Huge article. God, this is a huge article. Okay, here we go. Hey, okay. I think we got it here. All right, so we've got so we started with the main article. We're trying to get over here to the paranasal sinuses article, and we've done 2 clicks so far. We got to the N90 or the COVID-19 pandemic article, and I found something here that says nasal congestion. That's really close, right? We might get there really quick here. Runny nose. So I don't know which of these would be. This one here's got a little. This has got all kinds of stuff. Maybe that would get us there. Nasal congestion. This one looks like it has more stuff. Let's see. I got a picture there. I don't know. This nasal congestion. Either one of those, I think. I'll go with runny nose. So let me bring up runny nose here. This is a short article. This might mess up. All right, I'll bring it up here. So we started at main Wikipedia, clicked once, got to Mpox, clicked again, got to N95 or COVID-19, clicked again and got this rhinorrhea. Is that me pronouncing it right? Rhinorrhea, runny nose. So there might even be a link straight to this paranasal sinuses here. So let's see if we can see if there is. Look at that, sinus cavities. There it is. We got it. There's the link. We did it. Boom. So we did it in 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks. So that's good. See how the game works? So I think that'd be a fun game to play on online. The only problem is that, the problem of clicking something that might be TOS, and what do you do about that on a live thing? I don't know. I kind of worked around it there. There are ways to work around it, I suppose. So that was kind of fun. So we went here. We said, okay, Mpox, pandemic, came up with this. Then we said COVID-19 pandemic, went to that. Then we said runny nose. And I came up with this one. Rhinorrhea, that's the technical name for runny nose, I guess. And then we hit sinus cavities, and that's another name for paranasal sinuses, apparently. So, yeah, they have this one, sinus cavities. Oh, they link directly to it, okay. Sometimes they have a redirect or something like that. So that's kind of cool. So next time I can't think of anything to do, I'll play that game, I guess. 6 degrees of Wikipedia. So, all right, I've been on here for 2 hours. That's long enough, I guess. I got to do some things, so. I don't have enough to rate anybody here, so. Yeah, physics, who needs? Huh. Okay. Oh, I could read Big Ducky, or read Big Ducky Snow with. Oh, hey, he's talking to somebody, I think. Isn't he? Knock to ask Big Ducky Snow to collaborate. Huh. That's okay. Alright, so put my mug back up here again. Tired of looking at those nasals. You can look at my nasal. Alright, so I guess that's it. I can't think of anything else that I need to cover. Next stream, I don't know. Usually I do a movie on Saturday night, but I'm not sure if I'll do that. I don't know. I might move that to Sunday. Not sure yet what to do with that, but I'll figure it out. So I appreciate everyone watching this video. Please give me. I'm trying to get my affiliate here so I can get more features and make the stream better. So if you can get over to Twitch and follow Double Tribble on Twitch, and the VODs are right now are on YouTube. I'll probably be putting them up somewhere else so that they're actually visible. Because I'm having difficulty with YouTube. Every time I post something that has, like last night, or when I did that, anytime I review a movie, they say, "Oh, you put in content from a movie," and it's like, well, that's fair use, It's like they don't understand the concept of fair use. And these, these big companies that make the movies it's like they don't want people to have the right to comment on their movie, that's kind of like that's the way America works. That's the way free countries work. If you live in a free country, you can talk about stuff. It's freedom of expression, freedom of speech, but they don't like that. They don't want anybody else to have free speech. They want to censor everything, and so anytime I make a video that has content, or most of the time when I make a video that has content from a movie, then it'll get flagged, and they'll say, no, you can't have that, you can't play this video anymore, or they'll tell me to edit it or do something, or they'll only show it in Micronesia or something. You know, they'll limit what countries it'll go to. So, I keep challenging it. If that happens to you, if you're a streamer and you're posting stuff on YouTube and they're doing it, always challenge it. Always challenge it. If they say you can't do it, challenge it. Say, I appeal, you know, and just appeal, keep doing that, you know. Because that's the only way we're going to protect our rights, is to keep protecting them. Call your congressman. We're coming up to an election now. Call your congressman. Tell them you want them to fix the copyright laws so that they're, you know, maybe limit the copyright to 5 years. That's a good idea. Let's do that. Fuck them. If they're going to do that to us, let's go to Congress and tell them to make the copyright 5 years. Anything over 5 years is public domain. How would you like that, Hollywood? You want us to do that? Quit fucking around with us, or else we're going to do that. You know? We can do that. We could do that. We could do that easily. Just vote for people in office that would do that. Change the copyright law. Change it so anything over 5 years old is in the public domain. We could do that. Why not? Quit fucking with us, man. Okay, Hollywood? All right. That's my opinion for today. All right, so everybody, on that note, all right, so I'm going to close it down here. Next stream, I don't know, probably tomorrow. Check the schedule, because I ignore it anyway. Everybody take care. Bye-bye.
All right, here we go. First thing we climb a tree, and maybe then we talk, or sit silently and listen to our thoughts, illusions of someday, cast in a golden light, no dress rehearsal. This is our life. And that's where the hornet stung me, and I had a feverish dream with revenge and doubt. Tonight we smoke them out. You are ahead by a century. You are ahead by a century. You are ahead by a century.
Whoops, I left the mic on.
Stare in the morning shroud, and then the day began. I tilted your cloud, you tilted my hand. Rain falls in real time, and rain fell through the night. No dress rehearsal, this is our life. Well, that's when the hornet stung me, and I had a serious dreams with revenge and doubt. Tonight we smoke them out. You are ahead by a century. 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 And disappointing you is getting me down. Hydrate or drive, absolutely. That is good. Hydrogen oxide. That is very, very good. Hydrogen oxide.
I remembered something else that I wanted to do. I want to do a sync test, and I figured out that I could use this clothespin to sync my audio. So if I put this clothespin right up here and I snap it, it makes a noise as soon as that hits, and then I can go back to my VOD and measure it and see exactly how the sync is on this. So that's I want to do this little experiment here. Yeah, that's working. So this will give me a nice quick sound and a visual that will and it's fairly close to my microphone, so I can. Okay, that was with a 65 millisecond delay on the audio. So I'm going to pop it up here, double that to 130 milliseconds. Okay. So this is 130 milliseconds. Okay, that'll give me a clue as to how I can get this better synced a little bit. All right, stream is over. Bye.